Namaste everyone. We begin with our Shanti mantra. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Harihi Om. Om Sahana Vavatu. Sahanau Bhunattu. Sahavidyam Karavavahai. Tejasvinavadhetamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Last class we discussed about forgiveness, and continuing on that, we have a question for today. If others have other questions, you can post in the chat while I am addressing this question. So the question goes like this. 1. Forgiveness in the bracket to cultivate divine qualities, tolerance, accepting without revenge, all that. And 2. Indifference. There is no physical action in either of these two. So there is no difference from the outside. We sometimes need to solve problems with dharma in society. However, we can also choose not to take action because we want to be seen as a good person. At that time, we can use forgiveness as a superficial excuse, such as wanting to appear good or not, wanting to cause good or not wanting to cause problems, like wanting to appear good or not wanting to cause problems. And because of that, one might use forgiveness as a superficial excuse. But that is the tamasic quality, and it is the exact opposite of divine quality. Correct. How can we avoid bringing laziness into the practice of forgiveness or any other divine quality? I will add it to this. No? How can we avoid bringing laziness to the practice of forgiveness? And I would appreciate it if you keep some hints. Okay, thank you. So, in forgiveness and indifference, the indifference you are talking about here, there is a useful kind of indifference that is discussed in Yoga Shastra. It's called upeksha. For when we come across adharmic action, sinful actions, which we cannot control, which we cannot change, cultivate indifference. That is the apunya vishaya, it says, upeksha. So, but here this questioner, the student has asked, I think you mean more of a kind of I don't care attitude. Generally apathic. I think what you are trying to say here is indifference is mostly like a I don't care attitude. If you mean that is a tamasic quality, because upeksha is a sattvic quality. It leads to chitta prasadana. So even in indifference, there is a sublime indifference, and then there is a careless, callous. Callous. There is a word in English called callous, hard-hearted, callous kind of indifference. So that is a tamasic quality. But there is something called as a sublime indifference, where you don't take sides in a situation. You don't take the side of the virtue or the vice. No, you understand both are part of life, and through a vision of the big picture, you develop a certain kind of a non-reactive attitude that arises as a result of not taking sides because you are able to see the total picture. So that is called upeksha. That is a divine quality, that is a sattvic quality. But here, when you are contrasting with forgiveness, especially when you are telling, you don't want to take a dharmic action because if you are seen as an activist, people might consider you as a trouble. It's like, for example, uh, I remember when the rule for ban on public smoking came, it took a lot of time for especially Indians. In India, somehow this at least the public smoking ban has been implemented rather more effectively than any other uh, prohibition. For example, spitting in public is a punishable offense with a fine. Do you know that? You will laugh. In India, spitting in public is a punishable offense. I'll tell you another joke. Begging is punishable offense in India. Yeah. So those could not be implemented, but at least smoking ban was implemented. So when somebody smokes in the bus, you tell them not to smoke in a public transport. You used to have a lot of uh, backlash. The person will talk back, and usually nobody will take your side, and you are all alone there. So any kind of injustice in the society, if you raise our voice, unless it crosses a threshold where everybody is affected very badly, and they are just looking for somebody to take the initiative, then people might join you. Then it is okay. But sometimes you are alone in a struggle. Like they say, you are in a town of naked people. The one wearing the clothes is the mad fellow. So when everybody is adharmic, if you want to take a affirmative dharmic action, it might be a problem for you. That is that's very clear. That's understandable. But one need not, one need not try to act as a see. You might have indifference. You might develop a don't care attitude. That is tamasic, whatever, apathy and carelessness. But that is inside you, right? So you are feeling the indifference, but you don't have to voice your indifference. You don't go out there and say, when somebody asks you about it, you don't say, I don't care. At the same time, if you are not able to forgive, you don't have to verbalize a fake forgiveness. We should forgive them, what to do, they are doing with us. If you don't feel that, you don't have to say that. But at the same time, the truth is that you are feeling indifferent, you have a don't care attitude towards a situation. You don't have to say it bluntly as it is. There is this value called speaking the truth. They say speak the truth, present the truth in an acceptable, likable way. Don't speak the unlikable truth. But for that reason, don't speak what is not true either. Satyam bruyat, hitam bruyat, na bruyat, satyam apriyam, anritam kadapi na bruyat. Right? Now, when it comes to divine qualities and demonic qualities, we have to understand. If you want to avoid bringing laziness into the practice of any divine quality, not just forgiveness, we have to understand the importance, the value of that divine virtue or the value. Right? You have to understand how important it is for you. when you really understand something is important for you, you will not be careless about it. The very fact that we are being careless or we are glossing over certain thought processes and we don't care because we think we get away with it, we don't understand the consequence on us, how it creates an impression and how the impression proliferates in our mind and creates further patterns of action and creates further structures in the ego, and we bind ourselves into the web of likes and dislikes, right? We really have not put enough thought into it. That's what it means. So what we have to see is maybe what we can do if you want to avoid bringing. So you cannot avoid. You will end up glossing over at times. But what we can do is, we can have a Daivi Sampat journal, divine qualities journal, divine wealth journal, like how you have an accounts book for your all your savings and expenditure, how much I have in gold, how much I have in fixed deposit, how much I have in mutual funds, stock options, right? So you have a account of all your asset base and liabilities, and then you are keeping a check on that, right? So similarly, there's one of these Thursday satsangas I talked about inner wealth, cultivating inner wealth. There also I mentioned you can have a inner wealth journal. Yeah. So maybe you can go through what major thoughts, intentions, conversations, and other actions that you have done in the day, the major ones. You don't have to go detail by detail. If you have glossed over something and you have faked yourself in front of someone, if you have demonstrated a fake forgiveness, you are not going to feel comfortable inside. The moment we are fake, unless you are a trained air hostess or a receptionist or a public relations executive whose job is to fake all day in and day out. That's their job. So they get very stressed out, and in their personal lives, they are very irritable and all that. I heard about it. But sometimes what happens, it gets to them and they are fake everywhere. Especially PR people, I have seen that they're fake everywhere um, with everybody. So it has become like the second nature. And what happens, you get so used to it, it does not create that discomfort inside anymore. It's like a corrupt official, he's receiving bribe left and right every day. The moral standards take a beating. The moral ethical standards the becomes a kind of skewed. The person has a skewed sense of morality. If you ask thief, hey, why are you? You are a robber. You are making a living out of stealing. Don't you feel bad? He says, sir, I am a thief. This is my job. Now, as though it is a legitimate job. This is not supposed to be the job. But I'm telling how a thief thinks. This is my job. My father was a thief, grandfather was a thief, my whole community is thief. There are communities like that. Whole community lives by stealing and fraud and all that. But what I do is I donate 10 to 15, I religiously donate 10 to 15% of what I steal for charity. I am not stealing just for myself. I spend for all the poor people a lot of money, like this Robin Hood kind of thing. Um, he will have his own justification, but that doesn't make his stealing right. There is this conversation about skewed sense of morality between sage Valmiki. Before he was became Valmiki, he was the dacoit. Between him and sage Narada, there was this conversation. So Narada asked him, See, you are performing all these totally heinous action, hurting and killing people, maiming people, and robbing innocent people of their survival wealth and everything. And this guy says, I'm not doing for myself. This is all I know to do from childhood. I am doing it for my family. Then Narada asks him a question. Okay, you are justifying that, telling you are doing it for your family. But all these are going to create, first time this dacoit is listening to consequences of unethical action. He is listening to a discourse on punya and papa and the result of good karma and bad karma, how it affects the soul of a person. He is listening to that for the first time. All this is, sinful karma. Are you aware of that? Yes. But all this sinful karma is going to, it's accumulating for you. You will have to suffer a lot. This family that you are feeding by doing all this sinful karma, they are enjoying what you are bringing after robbing people, what you are bringing home. They are enjoying the fruits of your labor. But, will they be able to share? They are sharing your wealth, your earning. But will they be able to share your bad karma? And this dacoit says, of course they will share. They love me, I love them. They are sharing the wealth. Why wouldn't they share my bad karma? He's so innocent, And then he says, why don't you find out? And I will be here in the forest. You come back tomorrow. We will meet tomorrow. Why don't you talk to your wife and family? Ask them if they will take a part of your bad karma. And we will discuss again. And then this guy goes home. And he asks his wife, see, you are all enjoying the earnings, but I met a sage, I heard about this bad karma thing. So you will all take, you will take part and share my bad karma burden also, right? And the wife said, no, of course not. Nobody can share your bad karma. Your bad karma is your own to experience. It is your duty to provide for us. How you provide for us is your headache. You can do it. I didn't ask you to steal. I only asked you to bring what we need in the house. You chose to steal. You don't know anything else. So it is on your own head. So what karma you incur because of what sin you incur because of dacoitry and hurting people, that's totally on you. Nobody can share it. Even if I want to, I cannot share. Then it struck like a bolt for him. And she said, why should I share? I will not share. You are supposed to bring the wealth. And why should I? It's your duty. Why should I share your bad karma? And then, something happens to him and he wakes up. Then he runs to the forest to meet Sage Narada. He says, now what happened? I have been doing this nonsense for all these years. What will happen to me? Please do show me some way out of it. And then, then Sage Narada says, okay, you have to do tapasya. Do tapasya. Meditate. Do chanting. Mantra, japa, tapasya. That will cure you from all this. And then he said, okay, but he said, I will teach you a mantra, then you repeat that. And then he said, I don't know all these mantras, they're all too complicated. Then Narada asked him, you tell me what you like the most. And he said, I like these trees, all this forest. I am always in this forest. I like the trees in the forest, these huge trees. I like them. So you just sit in a place and repeat Mara. Now, Mara means tree. In Tamil, we say Maram. So you keep repeating Mara, 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 and I will meet you sometime later. And it will solve all your problems. So when you say Mara, 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 it becomes Rama, 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 Rama. It becomes Ramana. So this person, this dacoit sits and starts chanting that. and he's so absorbed into this and so committed and dedicated because he had this samskara from past life. So Sage Narada, because he is what we call as a Trikala Jnani, the one who knows the past, present, and future, one who can see that through his yogic perception. He could see that this dacoit, though he is a dacoit, he has some uh, samskaras from past life for austerity and yoga and meditation. So let us try to bring that samskara out. Then once he initiates him, I sits and start chanting. And then he's so absorbed into it, he goes into samadhi. Even he's so absorbed into it. He's a tough guy because he lives in the forest. So an ant hill grows over him. And then when Narada came and called him, there was all ant hill all over him. And then he gradually woke him up and brought him out. Since he emerged from the ant hill, he named him Valmiki. Valmiki. So it has something to do with the ant hill. So this sage Valmiki was the one who gave us Ramayana. So he became a rishi. So much was his tapasya. A dacoit could become a rishi. Right. So why did he have this level of commitment? Because of two things. We hear positive advice. We hear every day. We listen to some kind of spiritual teaching. Every week we are having satsang discussions on Monday. We have so much of spiritual information buzzing all around us, but hardly anything makes impact to the level, even to the fraction of the level it made for this person who became Valmiki. Right? So, two factors we see here in this case of Valmiki. One, he realized in this life, he realized the level of trouble he is in. And he also realized it is entirely his own responsibility to save himself. Whatever bad karma he did, he has to purify himself by himself. Like Bhagavad Gita says, Uddaret Atmanatmanam, na Atmanam na avasadaye, Atmaiva hyatmano bandhuhu, Atmaiva ripuratmanaha. There is a shloka. Means uplift yourself by your own willpower. Do not go against your own welfare. Don't go against, don't do something that is harmful for yourself. If you want to talk in new age language, we can say, do not act against your soul. That's something everybody kind of emotionally understands. So don't act against your soul. Don't sell your soul, basically. Don't neglect your soul. Because you are your own friend and you are your own enemy. So please choose to be your own friend, working for your own growth and welfare. Right? That's what it means. So this sage Valmiki, when he got the opportunity, he took it and he entirely dedicated to saving himself. He got that seriousness because on a very deep level, he realized the gravity of his situation and he realized there is no choice. Right? So that is in this life. Now, having realized there is no choice, he did not give in to laziness because he had the samskara, the subtle impression of tapasya, the vasana for tapasya from his past lives, accumulated past lives. Because without a huge level of good karma and the result of innumerable austerities done over so many lives, without the good karma and the impression of being a great yogi in past life, he would not have got the opportunity to meet somebody like Sage Narada in person and to get initiated by him. This whole situation would not have happened. There are so many dacoits in the world. Only one person met Narada and became Valmiki. Right? So these two factors are there. So when we want to develop a divine quality, we have to start where we are, and we have to accept our shortcomings. While we accept our shortcomings, we forgive ourselves, but at the same time, like they say in Japan, I heard about this thing called kaizen. You do some small steps. So what you do, you take small steps. Every week, you have a dominant or the main divine quality of the week. This week it is forgiveness. Next week it could be friendliness. Another week it could be compassion. And another week it could be practicing alertness and not, uh, practicing diligence and discretion. So every week one can choose a quality. You have make a list of those qualities from the 16th chapter Bhagavad Gita, and you see what you need to practice. Gladness. So Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha, and then when it comes to Daivi Sampat, where practicing objective thinking. So you can make a list of the quality. Maybe we can discuss the list of the qualities, Daivi Sampat, the qualities. We can discuss the divine qualities one by one in the coming classes. Using the 16th chapter Bhagavad Gita as a reference, we could do that. So what you do, you maintain a divine quality journal. So at the end of the day, remember those significant moments where you realize there was a lapse. Because the moment there is a lapse and you are faking it, it will make an impression and it will make you uncomfortable inside. Provided you have not completely lost your soul in a life of fake. If that was the case, you wouldn't be here asking this question. So whatever lapse that you remember, make a note of it and analyze the cause and effect. What made you choose to fake instead of being genuine? What you could have done instead, which is also acceptable. For example, this person mentioned in the question that we have to look good in the eyes of the society. There is a pressure for that. That is absolutely valid. It's a valid concern. Not only just looking good in the eyes of the society, we can, that is a more rajasic approach. A sattvic equivalent of that, to look good in the society. A sattvic equivalent of that is to be acceptable and pleasant for others. So when you are pleasant and not disturbing and not intruding and not disturbing, not creating disharmony for others, it's the same thing. Everybody will appreciate and love a person who does not create disharmony. Not create disharmony in my environment and for others. And if possible, contribute what I can to the feel good factor. It is the same thing as having a good public perception about yourself. Developing a good public image. Instead of working for developing a good public image, we can work for all those qualities, manifesting those qualities, because the society and the people around you, they deserve to be treated nicely, and they don't deserve to take your mental trash. They don't have to receive your mental trash. Just like how you don't have to receive anybody's mental trash. You don't like to do. When somebody comes and dumps all their thoughts and feelings and whatever they are, in the name of being frank, they come and dump all their stress on you. You would not like it, right? So in the same way, it's called Atma Upamam, means treating the others as you treat yourself. One second. So you treat others like how you would love to be treated, right? So we understand that making it pleasant and avoiding unpleasantness for others is something worth practicing, because you would also like that. When everybody extends this courtesy to everybody else, we have a beautiful society. That is something that I can contribute from my side. So when you do that, automatically people are going to like you, right? So when you are not a psychological burden on anybody, people are going to like you, and you are going to have a positive image. It's automatic. You don't even have to do anything about it, right? So we can try to find a sattvic reason. So we have to. This is possible when we are very watchful about our thought process. When we observe how we tend to come forth towards a situation, how we tend to respond to a situation inside us, there is a first response that comes inside us. Now that talks about the quality of the chitta. So the whole point of practicing the divine quality is because in our subconscious mind, in our chitta, we are all a mixed bag. That is exactly why the practice is needed. Otherwise, we will all be divine automatic, right? So it's all right. It is natural to wanting to fake. It is natural to succumb to laziness. So what we do is we make a note of that in our journal, and we think about how I could think or process this situation in my head in keeping with my commitment to divine quality. You think about it and make a note. Maybe you can discuss it with your teacher, you can discuss it with me, and then see if you are on track. And then you can visualize yourself in the same situation again, and visualize yourself responding according to the divine quality that you want to practice. Visualize yourself, relive that situation. You can do that practice. When you do that, it creates an impression and it creates a mental habit. So next time when you face a similar situation, this visualization would have left a samskara, and that samskara will kick in before the laziness or the tamasic virtue kicks in. So it will have a counter effort for that. So you will be able to resist that temptation to succumb to the tamasic quality of indifference, one. And also you will have that ability to not fake. You may not, you have to make an effort. If you want to fake a virtue, you have to make an effort, right? So you watch yourself making the effort, you just stop making that effort. Because it's a conscious effort, it is easy to stop. And then you see how I can own up to my natural feeling about the situation inside me, and give a response that is not hurtful, but at the same time, a response that is not fake. This is the key question. How can I give a response in action that is not hurtful and that is also not fake? Then I have to think about it. When I think about it, I will know exactly how I could have responded. So that's how you do it. And we have to understand that this is called pramada. Uh, this pramada is inbuilt in us. That's why we are in samsara. If we had no pramada, we would be liberated. Pramada means that kind of carelessness and brushing aside and becoming okay with certain habit patterns, justifying and becoming okay with habit. That is one of the problems that we have. So we can't solve it overnight, but what we have to understand is this cognitive carelessness is a universal problem that comes across all situations. And you cannot practice authenticity and carefulness with respect to just forgiveness or one or two qualities. You will have to practice authenticity and carefulness with everything that we do. Being true to my highest quality self. I have a version, the highest quality version of myself in my understanding. This, I would love to be this, we say, no? I would love to be this, and I am capable of being this. I love to be this. We have that, right? So what we do, we deliberately act in a way, we deliberately think, visualize, speak, and act in a way that is in keeping with the best version of myself that I would like to be in every aspect of life, starting from brushing your teeth to cleaning yourself to shower and to keeping your things in order, or you know, communicating with individuals, strangers, everywhere. I try to recollect what I was not happy about with myself and see what could be the best version of myself and visualize myself acting according to my best version, thinking according to my best version, speaking according to my best version in the same situation, and see how I feel about it. And then replicate it in the next time, the next opportunity. That when we keep on doing that with regard to everything, every aspect of our life, not just one side, we do that with every 100% of all the aspects of our life. If we apply this principle, then it becomes like a tapasya. So this carefulness and commitment and authenticity will automatically come in the values like forgiveness and other things that you practice. So being authentic, being authentic to myself has two aspects. One, I completely recognize where I am falling short. I don't have to tell this to anybody, but I can recognize it within myself. I accept it, I recognize it. Then I think and visualize what could be the best version of myself with respect to the same situation or aspect or quality. Then I take steps that will manifest this best version of me in action, in speech, in thoughts. Right? And it accumulates over time. When you start doing this for at least 3 or 4 things in a day and resist yourself from being fake in situations that are compelling for you to be fake, when you do that, over a period of time, the power of this authenticity accumulates, and it will not allow you to be lazy with respect to practice of the divine power. So that's how you do. You accumulate this, like and it will follow you in the next life. See, some people are naturally very authentic; they cannot be fake. But some people have to really struggle to be authentic because they are so naturally fake. It is all a matter of habit. So you cultivate a habit now so that it develops the samskara. And this inner wealth is something that will come with you even after death. This is the only wealth that you carry with you after death. External wealth, like I said in another class, that a broken needle also you cannot carry when you leave this body. So only the inner wealth that we have accumulated, we have cultivated, only that we can carry with us. Yeah. So that's how we, avoid bringing laziness into the practice of the divine virtues. Maintain a journal with regard to specific virtues, visualization, and reorienting your approach and thinking about a better approach, and then visualizing yourself adhering to that approach, and being authentic in everything that you do, and paying more attention to how you act, how you feel, how you tend to think about things, how you value things, and have some discussions and satsangas about this, and associate with people who are naturally manifesting the divine quality. There are some people, suppose if I have, for example, I had a big problem with empathy when I was younger. I didn't have much empathy at all. Then I had a friendship with a person who was very empathetic. And because of being that person, and spending a lot of time with that person, a little bit of that empathy, I learned to understand what is empathy, and I learned to appreciate the value of empathy. And then it became very easy for me to practice empathy. So whatever, let us say if you're a you tend to be a very vengeful and revengeful person. Identify somebody who tends to forgive everybody very easily. Spend time with that person. Discuss with that person a given situation. So when they think about that same situation according to their samskara of forgiveness, and when you listen to that, a bit of that good quality will rub in you, and it will help you to, invoke that divine quality in you much easier in the next situation. The same satsanga, like how we have satsanga for wisdom, we can also have satsanga for various qualities. Any person in your circle whom you recognize as having that quality in abundance when compared to you, spend some time with them and it will rub on you. So that would be my hint for this. So there are two questions here. In yoga life, in the midst of modern rat race age, how to keep up our self-reflection on this path, how to practice in action. How to keep up our self-reflection on this path. Same. Take time off for yourself. On a daily basis, it could be a few minutes. On a weekly basis, it could be a few hours. On a monthly basis, it could be a day or two. On a yearly basis, it could be a week or so. Take time off for self-reflection. Think about what are the things that you are pushing yourself to do, but you don't believe in them. Think about them. Then classify them according to duty, habit, desire. Sometimes something, I don't desire it much, but somehow, I've been keeping on doing it for a long time. It became a habit and I'm stuck in a pattern. The pattern just carries forward. It's not, nobody is compelling me to do that, nor am I getting any big high or kink out of it, nor am I getting any tangible benefit out of it. It just goes on. That is habit. When there are things that I dislike to do, but I still do, then I have to ask myself why I do. Is it because of my duty? Is it my duty? If it is my duty, then I may dislike personally, but I find it meaningful. So then I have to ask, whatever I think I am not okay with, that I'm artificially pushing myself to do this. So I have to classify it whether is it my duty or not. If it is my duty, then the problem is only my comfort zone. If it is not my duty, then the problem is a fake value or some insecurity or something inside me that is getting me hooked to that and making me push myself to do it. So when you realize that, you start looking for an alternative engagement. For example, this could be the rat race age, but still you don't have to be in the rat race. Nobody is compelling you to be in the rat race. So we have to keep, what we can do is we can have some checks. Though we say it is a rat race, there are a lot of people who have chosen not to be part of the rat race. There are a lot of people who have chosen when to stop. And they kind of regulate it. If they cannot entirely stop, they regulate it and try to see how they can prevent themselves from being completely sucked into it. And parallelly, they develop a value for other things, more enduring, more lasting, more meaningful things like health, some spiritual practices, some music, charity and volunteering and social work. People pick up a taste for one of these things, whichever appeals to them. They commit some time and spend some time in that, and they dedicate and they maintain a discipline, no matter how compelling it is. For example, um, we have this trend now, whenever you are sitting at the lunch or dinner with your friends or family, you keep your cell phone in your room or keep it away and then come and sit. You don't look at the phone. There are restaurants offering 10-15% discount if you switch off your phone during during your meal or during a conversation. I read about. So what you do, it is an effort. So once you are caught in a pattern, it needs the effort. It is a big effort to break out of the pattern. So what we do is we replace the rat race pattern with some other pattern that is more meaningful and that is uh, more nourishing and enriching for ourselves at a deeper level. You replace one habit with another positive, one bad habit with a positive habit, right? So I am in the rat race because I think I'm getting something out of it, and there is some insecurity if I am not in that. What they call as FOMO, fear of missing out. So because of that, it's an unconscious push. So when I take this time off, a few hours in a day or a few minutes at least in a day, a few hours in a week, a day or two in a month, etc. I examine my anxieties either through a conversation or through reflection, writing a journal and thinking about it. I see, I recognize and own up, it aside. I don't divert myself, I don't distract myself. I own up uh, my inner restlessness about it and spend time with it and understand the cause and effect and what is pushing me. Try to understand that unconscious push, the drive that is pushing me into, being manipulated by the rat race culture. Then after that, I see what I can replace it, what actions that will help me to overcome it, like satsanga, for example. The same thing I answered for the previous question. Spend some time with people who are not in the rat race, who have an alternative value system, and see if it makes sense for you. There are different kinds. It could be a social worker, it could be a spiritual sadhaka, it could be an artist, but anybody who is not in the rat race, but at the same time who is not lazy and not the kind of lazy, tamasic, indolent kind of, not in the rat race. I'm talking about sattvic, alert, intelligent, awakened, and highly conscious people who choose not to be in the rat race, though they can make uh, you know, they can be big time winners in the rat race if they want to be, but they choose not to be because they understand the problems of being in the rat race, and their consciousness is rich enough to appreciate deeper and higher and enduring things in life. I'm telling people like that. You can listen to them and spend time with them if we can, etc. So that will help. And then in the second question, in work, service, family, everyone pushes on their way of life like a motorcycle rider at the highway. They advise based on their belief system and experience. I know. It's very tough. I used to think about how to find and keep our way of life with the values in yoga, yama, niyama. This is one of the very sad things of our time. Everybody gets to say something, and everybody is empowered to say what they want to say and put their so-called message out there. And, you know, you have YouTube. They are given a platform. They can create their own platform. All the social media and reels and YouTube shorts or videos. Everybody is having stuff to dole out for others, and they are doing so because they believe in it, or they want recognition, or they are simply restless. They can't keep quiet. Could be any reason. This is why we have what is called swadhyaya and satsanga. When you have swadhyaya and satsanga, The advice they give, the normal common folk in your life, the advice they give based on their belief system and experience, it will not touch you, it will not push you if you are very clear about your Purushartha. And if you are very clear about the knowledge framework that supports you in your pursuit of your Purushartha. Purushartha means your goal, your inner targets, your the things that you value. No, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. These are your Purushartha. In this case, dharma and moksha. So, whatever is the spiritual value that you want to inculcate and you want to develop and you want to be committed to. For example, speaking the truth. You will have a lot of people say, come on, you cannot be so honest in these days. It is okay. There's something called a white lie. Even great saints have said that you can tell a lie uh, and a lie will be considered as a truth if it saves someone's life. So lie has its place. When it is too difficult, it is okay to do some white lie. They will try to convince you, right? Then you take it inside and you observe how it pushes you, because when they are giving you an advice or sharing their belief or experience, when we listen to them, especially if they are a close person, we tend to be very open and accepting. Subconsciously, we are open to them and we become psychically vulnerable. So what you can do is, when there are people who you can make a list of people who tend to influence you. You recognize their influence, but you also know that you don't want to be influenced by them. So you can identify one or two people in your life, in your friend circle, in your work circle, in your family circle, in your satsanga circle. We have a lot of nut cases in ashrams. So in your satsanga circle, in all your circles, you identify one or two people who tend to influence you in a way that you don't like and you don't want, and you know that it's a bad influence, but somehow you cannot you find yourself, your background mind being driven by their talk and their belief system without you knowing it. And then only after you have acted on it, you realize, oh, I just understand now that I have been influenced by this guy or this person, and you don't want to do it again, right? So you identify these people. So every time you are going to meet this person or talk with this person or chat with this person, any kind of interaction with this person, do two things. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel your feet on the ground. Breathe consciously. That is, from inhale to exhale, the whole breath. You don't have to take a very deep breath and be very obvious about it. Just inside you, control your breath mildly, just like 10 to 20%. Exercise a mild control on the breath so that the breath is conscious. When you are interacting with this person, feel your feet or your belly, belly button, just feel your belly button or your feet, soles of the feet, and breathe consciously with a little bit of control. And when you are not talking, fold your tongue upwards, the tip of the tongue touching the upper palate. Right? Just do this while you are communicating with that person. Whatever that person says will not affect you in a deep way. You can try this technique. If your inner commitment for yoga, yama, niyama, etc. are good, generally you tend to appreciate these things more. External negative influence will not push you. It will be easier for you to stay in your commitment, and you will not pick up external influence subconsciously. The unwanted influence your background mind picks up, even if you don't want, right? That will not happen when you do this technique. And what you do, like a ritual, every time you interact with this person and come back, just read a paragraph from yoga literature. A few shlokas from Bhagavad Gita or Tattva Bodha or Yoga Sutra, commentaries, or Ramana Maharishi's Upadesha Saram, any spiritual literature that generally inspires you, that you feel connected with, any wisdom literature from Vedanta and yoga that you feel connected with, keep a copy of that with you. Just read a little bit. After the interaction is over, read, or you can have shlokas. You can remember the shloka. You can repeat that shloka in the mind. And also you can repeat, if you have a mantra, you can repeat your mantra for a few times before meeting the person and after meeting the person. And even during the meeting, when that person is talking, then just mildly, remember your mantra or your deity, or mildly remember your guru while you are focusing on the feet, breathing consciously with a little bit of control, and whenever possible with the tongue folded up. And in mind, in the mantra or your guru or some kind of a spiritual principle that you enjoy thinking about, just keep that in the back of the mind, and don't be totally openly involved with that person. So sometimes that person will pick it up and they will lose interest in talking to you over a period of time. So these are all some practical tips that might help you. So any other question?
There's a question, clarification question is there. Namaste.
Clarification. Where? Ask.
Okay. So thank you for this. And is the question, I'll just read it. Except including the guru, except or including the guru, because the mind, when it wants, even the teacher's words is, which are also not comfortable.
Sorry,
For
teacher.
When the mind wants it, even the teacher's words are not comfortable, right? So did you mean like when
Mm,
you're,
mm, mm. So teacher's words are not. Give me an example.
for example, like having a habit of, let's say, gambling, and then the teacher says, don't. But I know I have the value why I should do what I do. It may be in a different form.
You have the habit of what?
Gambling, let's say, gambling example.
Right. Okay.
The teacher says, don't. So that makes me feel away from my interest, which is my interest, is to gain money or something in the short term. But then the teacher says no. So even the teacher's words are not comfortable. So should I do Kechari Mudra even in front of teacher, or because you said like
No, I said
mm,
the influence, because the question is about negative influence that takes you away from your practice of yoga, commitment to yama and niyama.
correct, correct. Okay,
The
thank
question
you.
is about how to help you stick to the yogic practices and principles when being influenced by the worldly people around you.
Correct, correct. Thank you.
That was the question.
Yes, thank you.
So obviously, if that person uses this technique of not being influenced by the guru, then that person is developing their asuric qualities.
That's exactly I would like to hear. Thank you. Thank you.
It's an asuric quality. So you are using a technique where it is not to be used. In front of the guru should be complete openness and surrender. Not that is exactly why I am with the guru. I recognize that person as a guru because I want to be influenced by him. So I want my negative qualities to be transformed by the person. That's why I have accepted that person as a guru. Basically, if I do this, then I am rejecting that person. Then I don't have to go and talk to him. When the guru tells me not to do, if I am uncomfortable, I should say I am uncomfortable. I am stuck with this. I want to do this. Can you just let me do this one thing and not let me disturb me? And the guru can take a call. They say, no, it is my job to tell you. I will keep on telling you. So one fine morning, probably this person will say, okay, I will not do. Keep on, but one should not block oneself from this. Once you have accepted a person as your guru, and you understand somewhere in your head, in a corner of your perception, even simple intellectually, at the verbal level, at the simple conceptual level, not at the emotional level, you understand what he says is right, you have to be open. If you don't think what the Guru says is right, then you can discuss with the Guru. That is what the whole samvada is about. So you help the Guru, you ask the Guru to help you understand it right, what he tries to mean. Because I don't agree with it. No? I don't agree with it. So help me agree with it.
Thank you.
Or help me to see what I am missing here, and why I am not able to appreciate what you are saying. Why are we disagreeing? So why what you are saying is right, and why what I consider is wrong? No, that is the samvada. So you have a discussion with the Guru, and the Guru's job is to make you understand why what he says is right, and why your habitual thinking is not right. And then once you are intellectually convinced, even in one corner of your mind, then completely surrender and allow the Guru to influence your patterns. That's how it is done.
Thank you.
Okay. With this we finish the class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Thank you.